How you doing, Gemini? Let's see what we got for you. Celtic cross for Gemini. Messages for Gemini. Oh my goodness, that was interesting. Okay, so first card out, 10 of Wands in reverse. You're dropping the burden. You're dropping the extra burden. You feel completely overwhelmed and just overtaxed and kind of apathetic to anyone else's issues or problems because you're so bogged down with all of your responsibilities as it is. And perhaps you're dropping some responsibilities or some issues are kind of resolving itself in a way by being cleared off the desk or in terms of some kind of resolution. There's also a feeling of burnout, feeling stressed and feeling of unwilling to delegate any responsibilities, Gemini, like in a way that you feel like that nobody can do it as well as you, and it's a certain amount of distrust that you have around you that things will be done correctly or, you know, in the way to your liking, in a way that you have some kind of fear of like delegating that as fear that someone will like mess it up. So, but I feel like there's definitely a change, and you know, you kind of ran yourself ragged to the point where like you have to drop some things, you know, and partly it could be due to, you know, partner, a job, a collaborative business situation or family situation, or, you know, or some kind of collaborative workings. You feel like, you know, the issue is you don't want to accept some kind of offer, or you're not interested in accepting some kind of offer, or somebody is thinking that of you, Gemini. Whatever that you put your time and energy into, I feel like you didn't get out what you expected you would, or what was what you thought you would. So you're kind of like releasing it and releasing the burden of it. And it seems like you no longer want to deal with it. Like whatever relationship that you're dealing with, you're taking care of a lot of things for this person, and perhaps there is a sense of codependency on the other person's part, and it's like you have so much other stuff that you got to deal with, and this person just expected so much more of you, and now you're just kind of sick of it, you know? You're just absolutely sick of it. The foundation is Page of Cups in reverse. This could be due to somebody who is disloyal, somebody who maybe is like an inappropriate lover, or somebody who promises things and who doesn't ever really intend to fulfill those promises. This is someone who is like, gets what they can, and then as soon as they get it, they bounce. And now you no longer want to give any kind of energy to this person because you kind of see who they are now. Because perhaps this person ghosted you in the past, or they just promised you a bunch of things that they never intended to keep. Or perhaps they even came at you like they were so sincere, and like, they thought the world of you, but as soon as they got what they wanted, they were gone, In the past, Queen of Cups in reverse. Now, this is someone who doesn't listen to their intuition. This is someone who can be emotionally manipulative. The Cups is a water sign: Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. I feel like it could be either a mother figure or some kind of, either, if not a mother figure, then a relationship partner, or either or. I'm not sure. Maybe it's different for other people. But this person is super emotionally manipulative, guilt trips, selfish, like kind of emotionally stunted or emotionally immature. Someone who lacks empathy, or is kind of like a dark empath. If they do have, if they could have like cognitive empathy, like they could, like maybe make people like perceive them as empathetic, but it's really more of like a manipulation in order for people to think a certain kind of way about them, which is opposite than who they are. It's someone who is like inauthentic and selfish. And this is someone in your past. This could show up in multiple different forms within your life. This is also somebody who's like apathetic, who is like just soured to the world and a bit bitter and resentful, and who feels like they never really got what they wanted out of life or what they should have got. Now, your goals, your conscious awareness, the best that can be accomplished at present, is the Three of Swords in reverse. Now, this is, you're getting over some kind of betrayal. Your goal is to get over some kind of betrayal, kind of to cut out any kind of past relationships or situations that didn't consider you and the best interest of you and the collective situation, because, or at least, at least to a mutual degree, and you feel like, you're just done grieving for you're done feeling hurt by this. And perhaps you had a long history with this person. And in a way, it was like small betrayals throughout your life of mistrust, and perhaps they gave you some kind of trust issues dealing with this person, or at least within this relationship, no matter how long that you knew this person. It was like, I think, it's like a kind of like a straw that broke the camel's back situation. There was just so much BS. Sorry, neighbors. So it was just, I feel like you've had a long history with this person. Possibly 14 years, or like 14 months. But, and I feel like this is heavily like a family partner or a long-term relationship in some kind of way, because it looks like there was frequent betrayals in some way or expectations of you. It's like this friend or family member who always has issues. Like the issues just never stop. It's always issue after issue and self-created crisis after self-created crisis. And it's like you've been running yourself ragged trying to fix someone else's problems, and it became to the point where like you're starting to ask yourself, does this person that I'm dealing with even consider me at all? Like, do they even care that I have all of my own things that I got to take care of? Do they even realize, or if they don't realize it, do they care? And I feel like ultimately, with history showing you that they don't really consider that as a factor into expecting you to take care of them in some kind of way. And if it's not your children, then, you know, like, I don't know if you need to take that kind of responsibility. If it's like a husband or a wife that it just expects you to do everything on top of work and also take care of the house and kids and everything, or if it's like a parent who expects you to take care of every little thing for them, you know, like, and drive them places and make appointments for them and blah, blah, blah. And it's been like this, you know, it's just, you are overextended to the brink and you don't want to deal with it anymore, and you are so beyond sick of it. So 5 of Cups in the future, this is grief and loss, grieving over some kind of loss. They would call this the crying over spilled milk card. This is crying about and grieving over the things that were lost without seeing the 2 cups behind you about what is left over. And you're just trying to, like, it's like you release this yourself from the situation, and you feel like you dropped a ton of bricks, but in the future there's some kind of guilt here. And I don't know, maybe this Queen of Cups in reverse, she or he is really good at emotional manipulations, which includes guilt trips. They make you, they act like they're so helpless that you feel like you have to take care of them. And if you don't take care of them, you know, like, they have a way to affect that kind of energy to make you feel like some kind of way about it, like you're not doing something that you should do, or you're not carrying out those expectations. Like if it's a parent, it's like, oh, I did this for you, but I have nobody else to help me. You know, like you know what I mean? They'll say there's nobody else. There's nobody else. And, you know, that's definitely a manipulation as well. I feel like you're going to release it. You're no longer going to deal with this or deal with this other person's issues or problems, but you're going to feel like a certain kind of guilt from it. How you see yourself, the King of Wands, you're creating. You are at the peak of your creativity and action. King of Wands is fire, Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo. There are the action orientated card. They create. You know, they do. They have strength, action, passion. They make shit happen, you know? And that's what you're doing. You're taking back control over your life. You know, you're releasing this sense of guilt, and this, like, sense of obligation that they put on you that it never should have been there to begin with, you know? Because it wasn't yours. How your outside situation perceives you is judgment. They feel you as calling judgment on a situation. Perhaps they knew that they were taking too much, or they knew that that this situation wasn't going to last very long. So that's possibly why they asked as much as they did from you, because they knew it was like something that wasn't going to last, and perhaps they knew they were taking advantage of you in some kind of way, and you made a final decision that you're not going to return to the situation or this person, because it's like you didn't have a lot that you were getting from the situation. It's like, you know, it's not that you were just like helping out when you could. It was like it started to take over your life. And in some regard, this person or job or situation, it could even very well be a job, it became all encompassing. And they just asked more and more and more of you, and then they just never compensated, and you made a final decision. They see you made a final decision that, you know, judgment was called on the situation, that you weren't going to deal with it anymore. Your hopes and fears of the situation is the Sun reverse. This is a lack of happiness of the situation, you know, a lack of growth. Could be a death of a dream, or a death of some kind of hope, of some kind of collaborative situation, that this could have been a death of the idea that this could have been a good situation, collaborative, that we could have helped each other. But you started to see the reality of it, that it became less reciprocal and more parasitic, you know, and you feel like you weren't seeing things, you know, the way that it was being presented. And you're putting it to rest, because it's like the sun is setting on this situation, and the frustration was your body telling you that, you know what, I don't think I could deal with this anymore. And, you know, it's like, even if you kept on pushing yourself to just do more and more and more, you know, like, this is a depletion of energy. You know, it's like, I can't do it. So 7 of Cups in reverse, this is the outcome. Is that you're coming out of illusions. So 7 of Cups is a lot of options in the upright. Thinking that you have a lot of options, or having some kind of dreams or fantasies, or seeing the potential of a collaborative situation. And now, after working with this situation or this person or this job, you know, the fog has lifted, and you're starting to see things as they really are. You know, it's like you had to make a final decision, because like you felt like you were losing yourself, and it became really, really codependent. There could have been a fair amount of gaslighting as well, you know, and after you're going to separate from this energy, or, you know, this environment, you're going to feel a certain kind of way, like the fog will slowly clear, and you'll start seeing things as into like how you were sabotaged little by little, like in little ways that you didn't even, it didn't bring it to your conscious awareness at the time, you know? Because maybe this person was like, if it was a mother or a boss, or, you know, significant other, like they were so hypercritical of you, and they made you kind of like always had some kind of criticism of you, that you didn't do it right, you didn't do it quick enough, why didn't you do this, you should do this, like, oh, I could do, oh, like, well, I do it this way, and insinuating that you're not doing it right all of the time. Then you start questioning yourself, because that kind of energy, it affects you, and it is a certain amount of gaslighting, and it's a sense of mind control, and these kind of like tactics, I don't know how much it is conscious of a person that does this. A lot of times it's unconscious. Like the behaviors are unconscious, and they would never admit to themselves or fully see it, that they're doing it to get something in a way. And, I don't, but whatever it is, you're coming out of illusions, and you're starting to see things that the way that they are, and you're done trying to prove yourself to somebody or something, because anyone that you want to put time and energy in is somebody that appreciates you, and somebody that sees your gifts, and somebody that doesn't backstab you or sabotage you. And I think this person has sabotaged you a lot. This is somebody that's like, so this is somebody that sabotaged you a lot in many different ways, like, and this must have been conscious on a conscious level, like maybe they asked you to ask a ride from you and say that they're gonna give you gas money, and you drive them all the way down, like downtown, and then they're like, oh, I don't have change or money, so I'll get you back later, but you gave them a ride. Or let's say if like, oh yeah, I'll put you up in my place, like you don't have to pay rent for like a month or two, just as long as you help me around the house. And then, it turns out that they're just kind of freeloading and like kind of just taking advantage of you. Or maybe it's like a job, like that you have, and, you're on salary, or you work off some kind of commission, and, they ask you to do more and more and more that really has nothing to do with your specific responsibilities, but then they have some expectations that you should do it, even though you work on some kind of commission. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, you're not even like paying me hourly. Like, am I being paid for the time that I put in? It could have been all of the above situations or one of them, but it's definitely within that area, and it could have been sabotage, like, or let's say they're washing your laundry or something, and, they pour a bunch of Clorox in their dark clothes that they're washing, and then they ruin your clothes if they're living in your house, and they're like, oh, I didn't know, I thought a little bit of Clorox, but this person is like a damn adult. You know what I mean? They know damn well what they did. They would just never admit it. They just, because that's what they're doing. They're playing passive aggressive and gaslighting. And if you tell them that you don't want to do something, then they screw you up in some way, Like if it's a mom that lives with you that says, oh yeah, I'll make dinner for the kids so you could go to work, and all of a sudden they know what time that you need to go or you need to leave your house, and then they show up like 10-15 minutes past the time that you would have had to leave to get there on time. You know what I mean? It's like, and there's no food. It's just kind of stuff like that. It's like such sabotage and gaslighting. And I feel like the more that you leave from this situation, the better it's going to be for you, because you're going to start seeing it. Because I don't think you were seeing it at the time, or fully what was happening until it started to unfold, because usually stuff like that gets more progressive and it gets worse, and the expectations become more, and then they become less polite, they become a little less grateful, they start to forget what their bargain is, things like that. But this is somebody that like lives on some kind of a lack mentality, so they take as much as they can when they can, because like they always feel like they're in the lack. So regardless of what it would do to you or what effect it would have on you, because it's really not in their sphere of like consideration in any regard. Like it's like, well, that has nothing to do with them. Which is crappy, because like you're helping them in some kind of way. And I see that with this 10 of Wands in reverse, like you were doing a ton for this person. And it was just never enough. You were just never good enough. You never did it right. They were never grateful. And if they pretended that they were at first, like, no, you're like, definitely you started to see things in a much clearer light. And that's when you're starting to like stand up for yourself. Like, I have to make a stand for myself. I have to take care of myself. Like, I can't be your savior. You know what I mean? You got to take care of yourself. Because unless it's your child or a child, like, unless it's your child, it's not your responsibility, unless, you're paid if that's your job. But, if it's not your responsibility. You don't want to enable people that claim or like feign some kind of like a wounded deer. Like, this is the kind of person that will just be like, oh, I can't do it on my own, I don't know how, but then they didn't try. But it's like, not only that they didn't try, they knew that if they whined and complained and act like they don't know how, that you would just eventually do it. And perhaps they were catered to a lot by many different types of people, but then it all kind of like evolved into this kind of situation. It's like they take what they get until they drain somebody completely dry, until this person, whoever they're with, has to let go. Underneath, and now look, because for a Pentacles, you're protecting yourself, your funds, your tangible wealth, everything that's yours, and it's telling you to protect yourself. Because like you're blowing the horn on the situation, you're calling it as it is, and you see it as it is, and that's you not dealing with it. You're like, I'm done. I'm not getting what's owed to me, what I should be getting. Like, the benefit is not worth the sacrifice, And you're going to drop it. You're going to feel some kind of guilt, but don't let this person, this mind control, like, situation, like, don't let it manipulate you. It's not your responsibilities. You have to release it. You're gonna, I mean, you don't have to. I mean, you're an adult. You know what decision that you have to make. And you know what's best for you. I don't ever want to tell another adult, this is what do it, because you're an adult. I can't, you're not my kid, like, but I feel like you're gonna, hopefully you'll do what's best for you, because, something like this will really deplete you. It could really stall your life and throw you off track and your divine path, Advice for Gemini. Advice for Gemini. So look at that, look at that, look at that. So all that glitters isn't gold. All that glitters is in reverse. You're seeing the Queen of Cups for who and what they are. Whatever perception that you've had about this Queen of Cups, it's being cleared. The mask has lifted. The mask fell, actually. And, you know, like any illusions that you once had about the situations, that you could improve the situation, or things will get better as long as this person's life or situation or job will get more organized, and I do this, then that will be enough. But it's never enough. And you see that it's a pattern, that this person feigns kind of a helplessness in order for you to do everything, in order for them not to take responsibility of their own life. This is someone that is kind of toxic and is kind of entitled. They feel entitled that you do more and more and more for them, you know. And now it's like the mask is slipped and you see things the way they are. The thing is, you grieve of the situations. You had a certain idea that this could have been a collaborative thing, that, you know, like whatever relationship situation and that it was, that you hoped it would be able to have some kind of shared collaborative thing. You know, you try to put your best foot forward on the situation, but ultimately, you know, it led you to regret about how much that you put in, how much that you cared for the situation, how much time, energy, and resources that you lost having to consider somebody else's wants, needs, and expectations. Because you were loyal to the situations, and perhaps it's like some kind of like misplaced loyalty. And that's something that you could really have to look into yourself, is why do you have some kind of misplaced loyalty? Maybe it's a perception of what this person stands for in your life, like, or that you expected some kind of like reward from the situations that never really came about. And the thing is, this was a karmic situation. It definitely was. It was meant for you to get a new awareness, to be more aware of your surroundings and the people that come into your environment. And maybe it's like it's also giving to get, possibly. Like you're giving your certain time and energy and all of that stuff, expecting to get some kind of return, and that's where you kind of end up in the empty, you know. And perhaps the universe is telling you to be more aware of that, because when you're coming off of that kind of energy, you kind of reflect the same kind of energy, that it somewhat comes off as somewhat like manipulative and using in some way too, which is, I mean, I know that's crappy to hear, but I mean, I've done it in my life too, that, hey, I will, you know, all of those situations or situations that I listed are situations I've been through, you know, and it's something that I kind of had to see for myself as well, that every time I thought it was collaborative, that we could help each other out in some kind of way, that, hey, I'll give you this if you give me that, I found out in me personally that that energy ended up screwing me like every single time. So I don't know if that's something to be cognizant of, or if that has been like a repeating occurrence with you. That's something to look out for. Because I also have my North Node, my Rahu in Gemini. And when it comes to like business dealings or something like that within the eighth house, like I always get, with my placement in the eighth house of Gemini, was it? Yeah, my Rahu is Gemini. And I always get screwed by employers or collaborative situations like that. If that doesn't hit, it doesn't hit, but no, if it does, then definitely keep that in mind. It was fated that you called judgment on the situations because you know what? It was keeping you away from building on your own dreams and building steady foundations for yourself, because you became a slave to the situations, became really codependent really fast, and this is the kind of energy that this person brings to you. So I feel like it's something that would be needed in order for you to manifest your dreams. And it's only you that could decide ultimately what's the best thing for you. And if this, like, situation, like, or if this reading, like, really, like, resonates with you, it's something to kind of just be aware about, you know, aware of. Um, but yeah, bottom of the deck. It's definitely keeping you away from your direction in your life, your own dreams, your own manifestations. And it's time for you to put that energy back where it should be. It's time for you to thinker. It's time for you to really consider what's the best thing for you and what's the best way to go about this. These are the two bottom of your decks. Maybe you should think about holding back, you know? But that's what I got for you, Gemini. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, comment below. Now, all of that really helps the algorithm. If you feel this resonates, if you'd like to donate to the channel, I'll add the donation box below within the description. And, you know, if you feel moved to do so, and if not, it's all good. I still love you lots. And, like, I'll talk to you later. All right. Bye.